buddy? Well, a happy Memorial Day. This is the Anthony Gargano Show right here on Fox Local. So hope you guys are having an incredible Memorial Day weekend. It's the kickoff to the shore, right? I want you guys to be going crazy, enjoying yourself. Backyard barbecues, down the shore, the boardwalk. Man, I have such great fond memories of the boardwalk, of the shore, whole thing. We're going in for a great summer 2024. We kick it off. And by the way, it will be the summer of the Phillies, right? Phillies will be a great companion with you. Phillies down the shore, Phillies on your backyard, Phillies on the porch, right? In your neighborhoods and all over Philadelphia. It's how we do summer. Now, football always on the front lobe of the mind, right? So today, we're going to give you a little draft special on this Memorial Day. So we had a chance to really kind of deep dive into the Eagles draft, the NFL draft. And so we're going to have some fun with you today. We're going to give you a little pigskin, a little football. The draft is with us. So we're going to start off with some fun stuff with the Axeman and the baby axe. That's right. Jeremiah Trotter Jr. How about this homecoming? How about the fact that the Eagles landed the Axeman Jr.? Of course, Jeremiah Trotter, the great Mike linebacker for the Eagles. All those years, he comes back. Remember, he left in 01. In 02, they missed him terribly, right? That was the whole Juravicious and the Buccaneers. 03, they missed him terribly. That, of course, was Deshaun Foster putting a footprint on Mark Semino's back. He comes back, the Axeman, in 04, and they go to the Super Bowl. All these years later, Jeremiah Trotter Jr. at Clemson comes out into the NFL draft. We had him on. I had a chance to talk to both him and Dad the week of the NFL draft, and that was before the Eagles selected him. So we got the Trotters back. Hope you enjoy this interview. We'll see you in a moment. Jeremiah Trotter Sr. and Jeremiah Trotter Jr. joins us right now. Trots! What's up?
Yo, what's up, baby?
What's up?
Cuz, what's happening?
Oh, my God. It's so good to see you guys. Oh, man. So, listen, Junior, do you remember coming to the show with me and your father? Like when we would do our show and he brought you to the show. Oh, my God. I'm looking at you now. Stud, right? Going to be a stud NFL player. So proud of you, man.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Hey, Senior, how do you look like you can still play?
Yeah, you just seen my head. You ain't seen the lower half.
So what are you going to do? First, I got to ask you, what's the plans for Thursday night? What are you guys doing draft night? What's the party like? What are you guys thinking?
Just going to be at the house, man. Got a few friends over and just going to enjoy the draft on Friday. We're going to have Friday. Thursday night, just going to be hanging out, watching the draft. And, we in grind mode, man. We in grind mode. Once his season was over at Clemson and he went in to prepare for the combine and his pro day. Once that's over, we get ready for the next step. We're preparing for the season now, so
it all begins, man. This journey's been so awesome. Junior, what's it like? The pride of the prep, right? Like, I mean, coming through it, what's this journey been like for you? And when you look at this draft, what does it mean to you?
No, it's been a long journey, but now that it's here and it's about that time, it seems like all the hard work that I put in, and just I just give glory to God and just all the hard work though put in. It just means a lot more. It was all worth it to get to this point, and I just thank God, thank family, friends, everybody that was along with me on my journey, to help me get to this point.
What have you? What does your father mean to you during this whole thing? He's a great dad. I watched him. He's just a good man. And what about the role that he played in just growing up through this thing, and how instrumental was his career into you choosing this path?
No, he means a lot to me. As a dad, as a father figure, somebody like look up to, learn from. But also, as far as football, teaching me how to play linebacker. So I've been learning how to play linebacker since a young age. Been teaching me like the ins and outs, like the little techniques and things that he's learned throughout his career. So it definitely helped out a lot to get to this point.
Yeah, I watch you explode through the A gap, and I go, I see the big 5'4". Right. I mean, like that A gap. Nobody exploded the A gap like your dad. what, what did you want this for Junior? Like, how do you set out? Like, I got two boys that play football, and they're 11 and 14, and I want you to kind of talk about fatherhood for a second. And as you look, and I know with such great pride that you have in Junior, what was your mindset with this? Did you have an interest, or like how did it all start for him?
Well, we have a tendency as parents to kind of steer our children into the areas that we really enjoy, and you know, obviously, football is a staple in our family, and I wanted to, steer him towards that. And you put them in it at a young age, you just coach them, let them have fun, and teaching them ins and out, and you hope they enjoy or love it the way you love it. And he just he always loved the game. He was always physical when he was little, even at 2 or 3 years old, just a physical, tough kid. And I knew at a young age if he continued to grow, you know, and God gave him my abilities, you know, he would be at this moment now. So just a joy to watch the process throughout his career, his journey, and to see the young man he's become, all the hard work, the sacrifices that has went into it, and a lot of times as athletes, people see, you play on Sundays or Saturdays on game days, but they don't really understand the amount of work and sacrifices that have went into it just to get to the stage that he's at now.
Yeah, the behind the scenes stuff, I mean, the aches and pains and all the work to do for prep, and you lived it. It was funny. I look at you now, and you're so prideful. I love it. I love the father's pride. Like, you could care less about your own, what you've accomplished, and what was an amazing career, and it's all about Junior. I just think that's beautiful.
Yeah, man. I'm just happy for him, man. I'm happy for him. A lot of times you get a lot of parents that kind of live through their children, right? But I don't have to do it because one, I played the game, I played the highest level, but I'm just happy for him, man, because no matter the amount of talent that God gave me or God gave him, it still has to be extra things that go into that to make that talent work, and like I said, sacrifice, determination, the work ethic, the heart, the dog, all of those things have to go into it, man. And I've seen him do it. He's been a pro he since a young age, just always about his business, always putting in the work needed to be done. And then when you combine all of those attributes and the God-given ability, you get a heck of a player.
Junior, when did you know that this was really the path you wanted?
I'll probably say, like eighth grade, as I got older and really understood, how high I could get, and like the work that it took to put in. Because when you're younger, you're just playing the game for fun, running around, just having fun with your friends, or just trying to go out there and make plays. But as I grew older and took it more seriously, seeing it as like a career I would like to go down, I started to, really grind and focus in on like what I had to do to get to this point. So pretty young age that I was taking it seriously, how I carried myself, how I prepared to make sure I could make it to this point, and I just making sure that the first thing overall was keeping God first.
How did St. Joe's Prep really kind of help you and kind of get you through it? Because I think it's a wonderful program, and they really help shape. And what kind of role did the Prep have in preparing you for Clemson and such big time football and ultimately the draft?
I feel like they did a very good job preparing me, and I feel like they do a good job just preparing the student athletes that go through that high school. Just because as far as academic wise, it is pretty tedious, and is you're gonna have to be hard working and focused academically if you want to make sure that you keep your grades up. And then football wise as well, you're playing against good competition in the area. You travel and you'll play competition around the country. So you're getting, you got to be focused on both ends of the spectrum to make sure you're prepared. And I feel like St. Joe's really did a good job of doing that. So when I got to college, I could just like keep doing what I've been doing for 4 years, really. So they really prepared me, really made sure I was ready on both my academics and as an athlete.
What do you remember from Dad's career? Were you living it like Eagles fan, the whole thing? Like, what do you remember from that?
For me, I was pretty young when he was playing, but I remember highlights going as I got older, going to games and like seeing how fans interacted with him. He brought me and my brother out on the field when he was inducted on the Eagles Hall of Fame. So I remember parts of his career like that, and it's like just basically seeing like the impact that he made. As far as on the Eagles fans and just the game of football in general. And so I experienced that, and just I remember how everybody would treat him, coaches, players, fans, and I just really admire that.
Listen, when Dad came back, right, and this is a long time. It was like 2004. See, in 02 and 03, we missed that. The Eagles, if Dad was playing middle linebacker in 02 and 03, the Eagles would have won the Super Bowl, right? But he comes back in 04, and he did something that was so amazing, right? And I want to share this with you because I lived it with him. So he was clearly better than who was playing in that position at the Mike linebacker. But Dad didn't say a word, right? Like Dad worked his ass off. He just, all the respect in the world. Then they got trounced by the Steelers. And then Andy Reid said, you know what? I got to put the Axeman in. And the Axeman never left the field after that. And he was one of the big, and he was always team guy. And in fact, he did wrong. And it was salary cap, it was business, right? But he wanted his contract when he left. And they wouldn't give him a deal, and he deserved it, right? So he goes to Washington, and before he came back to Philadelphia, he called Coach Andy Reid, and there was a dream, and they talked to one another, and it was really a beautiful moment. And I thought your father handled that moment with amazing class. And then as they go on to this Super Bowl, Dad is rolling, the team's rolling. And then we started creating T-shirts. See, we were early with the merch called the Axeman T-shirt. And your uncle ran the operation. The hatchet.
Yeah, the hatchet. My brother.
What do you remember from that year, that story, and the lesson that really it helps, to impart to Junior about how you handle that stuff?
Well, just always grind, man. And, when things are not going well, pray and grind. And I went through, they know all the stories about my rookie year, how tough it was for me. And, just losing my dad and having to try to play underneath that stress. And, you know, just going back to the hotel and burying my head into the pillows and just crying myself to sleep. And just grind, just pray and grind, man. When things get tough, you pray and grind. Eventually, you're gonna get through it. So, I feel very confident that I've done everything I could do to raise my children the best way I could. I'm not perfect; they're not perfect, but I feel very confident that I prepared him to be able to withstand anything that life has to throw at him.
What do you think is when you're raising a young athlete? Because it's a passion of mine, having my two boys and sports, and I think sports is so important to children, boys and girls, and their development in every walk of life, right? And it helps keep them out of trouble, and it helps kind of hone their social skills, and it teaches them to dig deep inside them. What's some of the advice that you give to young athletes and young football players, especially those, like Junior, who have some talent, real talent?
Well, my dad used to say there's more than one way to skin a cat, right? So basically, there's more than one way to raise your children. I only know how I raised mine, and sports for us wasn't just, oh, let's go have fun and just this. No, we're gonna compete to win, because life is all about winning. Everything you do in life is competition. And if you can put forth the work ethic, the discipline, and all those things it takes to win, even if you don't win, if you're putting forth all of those things it takes to win, all of those things translate outside of football to the classroom, in life, when it's time to compete, when things don't go well. You're able to withstand. You got a good foundation. You're able to withstand those things, those darts, and those things that life throws at you.
Did you have a place of maybe for me it's Chick-fil-A. I take Anthony like to after a game, and if he's not, something happens, or after practice, like I go get him a milkshake and about 100 nuggets, and that's kind of our bonding moment. Did you guys have something like that, like a bonding time, or when things like after a game, youth game, high school game?
Well, fortunately, for us, had a great wife, had a great mom. We didn't eat out a lot. So she would prepare everything for the most part. So we didn't have necessarily a particular place. But for us, bonding was either playing golf or just surrounded by football. After youth games, we would go straight home. My wife would prepare a meal for everybody, and it would always have a couple of teammates over, maybe a couple of the coaches' sons and some of the other coaches, and we would sit down and watch the film. We would make our corrections that day while it was still fresh on their mind, and so they would play on Saturday. We go home, watch everybody shower up. We would eat while we're watching film, and make the corrections. Then we would put that game behind us. The next week we'll start preparing for the next opponent. So for us, that was, for me anyway, that was a great bonding time for me. I can't speak for Jeremiah and Josiah, but that was great bonding for me.
How about you, Junior? How do you see it? What do you remember of those like bonding moments? I just think they're so precious, right? That you'll always have that. Like having your dad be that close to you is a beautiful gift.
Yeah, no, those bonding moments, definitely mean a lot, especially growing up and when you're young and trying to develop, and you're just playing football for fun. And then if sometimes you come off a tough loss, and then you have like one of those moments, like going back home, you'll have a dinner. My mom would cook, teammates come over, and we'll watch film, and then after film, after we made the corrections, we just hang out and have a little bit of fun. Watch TV, play video games, stuff like that. All of it, just growing up, things that you miss, about the growing up and learning. But I remember those times, just watching film with my teammates, and then after we made the corrections, just playing video games and just putting that game behind us. So definitely means a lot, and I appreciate my dad, just how he raised us, and everything he taught me.
Is how important having dad going through his experience translating to you when it comes to preparedness for this, now going into the NFL and then playing, big time college football at Clemson?
No, it definitely means a lot, just because when you're learning things that an NFL caliber player has learned throughout his career, and you're learning at a young age when other kids they're not learning until later in their careers. It means a lot because you can start working on it earlier, and you already know the correct technique and like the how to go about how you play the game and prepare for the game at an early age, so you can start working on that and correcting that. So when you get to this type of level, you're confident and that you're prepared, and you have all the tools that you need to succeed. You just gotta keep grinding, keep working, and make sure that you just give God the glory, and everything else will fall in place.
Junior, what do you love about football?
I'd probably say the biggest thing for me is the competition. I love going out there and competing against other high talented players, and even if you don't make a mistake or you miss a tackle, you can always work on things to improve your game and get better so you can um, you know outperform the players that you're going against. So I love that factor of just always looking to get better and competing and just seeing it the hard work that you put in off the field or when the lights aren't on pay off on game day.
Do you like the X and O part? Like having dad who knows the game from that standpoint at such a high level, such a high football IQ. Is that something that translated down to you, where you look at the X and O's, and it's because there's something fun about that piece of it too,
Oh yeah.
especially you as the quarterback of the defense.
Oh, definitely. That's definitely another fun part of the game. Just the mental part. When you're watching film and you pick something up and then you see it on game in game time, and you can just react faster than your opponent because you know what's coming. Like there's some situations in college when I was watching film and I see a motion out of this formation, a certain offensive formation, and I knew what was coming. So I'm basically beating the running back or the offensive lineman to the point, and because I study film and I put in the work for the mental part to make sure I play fast.
Senior, when you think about the beauty of being a dad, right, and the beauty of him following your footsteps is the mistakes that you made, right? Like you realize that. So it's awesome, right? Because you can then kind of prep them into not making the same kind of mistakes. What did you like? Give me an example of maybe something that you told them to like warn against.
Just going through your progressions, get the play in, go through your progressions, see splits by the receivers, or check the offensive lineman, because those big guys, as they get a little tired, they start to lean or cheat, especially when they're pulling or when they're pass setting. Um, Certain formation, a lot of times you'll see a tight end that's off the ball peeking where he wants to go, stuff like that. So those type skills, it takes time to learn all that, because most people, they just line up, they get the call, line up and play. You can't play football that way. You have to communicate, right? So if you see a guy leaning, hey, alert the pool right here, alert the pool. Now you're not only making yourself better, you're making the people around you better. Now that doesn't mean you just take off running to the left. You just alert the pool right here, or alert run, or alert the pass, and you know all of it, man. Just watching tons of film, because everybody have telltale signs. We're human. Everybody has it. The great ones, they do a really good job of making everything look the same. But for the most part, everybody has something. We're creatures of habit, and a lot of times we get in the habit of doing certain things, and then it's your job to watch film to check those habits, and little stuff like, okay, I know you're blitzing on this play before the snap. Well, how you know that? Well, your stance is different from when you're not blitzing. You see what I'm saying? And I said,
Yes.
if I can see it, they can see it. You know, so just the ins and outs of the game. I mean, they was learning stuff, was using your hands, stuff that I didn't learn until I got to the NFL. So I feel very fortunate to be able to instill all of that knowledge back into them.
That's awesome. You kind of fell in love with coaching, didn't you? Like you seem like you got the bug.
No, I wouldn't say I fell in love with coaching. I've always loved to coach my boys just to make them better, and because I help coach their teams, I felt responsibility to help everyone else also. So
Yes.
I felt a responsibility that all the people that came along, came up with them, played with them, I owed it to the game to teach everyone else also, because God, blessed me to be in that position. So, and I've absorbed a lot of knowledge over my career. I played with a lot of smart people. I played underneath for a lot of smart people, coordinators, position coaches, and I also studied other players' game. I watch other players' game. When I'm watching offenses, I'm studying other linebackers. What do, what not to do. You know, well, that didn't work for him, so I'm not gonna try that. And I've been able to give all that knowledge back to them. And I always tell them, listen, I went through all these mistakes, so you don't have to. I'm telling you, this is what's coming. This bait right here. Don't go for the bait. All right, don't go for the bait. Hold out a deep, break on the short. Down in distance. You already got to know the down in distance, man. You already got to get a cadence of the quarterback. Watching game film. See, I always talk to them watch game film, because game film you get you get a really good feel of the defense coordinator and what stages of the game he likes to make certain calls. Like I said earlier, we're creatures of habits, right? And coaches in certain situations, they go back to what they know has worked in the past, right? So when you're watching game film, you can get a feel of what's going on in the defense coordinator's mind versus watching cutups.
Makes perfect sense. Junior, what advice would you have for young athletes and young football players?
First, I would say, be strong in your faith, because when you're going down this path and you're trying to make it to this level, everybody's going to have, their trials and tribulations. So if you're not strong in your faith, when those tribulations come and trials, then you're not going to be able to make it through. So that'd be the first thing. And the second thing would be, just work hard and grind, because there's a lot of people are saying that I've heard is, um, talent will lose to it basically says, like, when talent isn't working hard, hard work is going to beat talent any day. So you can have all the talent in the world, and there's so many stories of people that have all the talent in the world, but they just didn't have the mindset or the work ethic. And the people that are less talented will outwork them, and they'll beat them out, or they'll accomplish more. So that would probably be the two biggest things I would say. If you have that mindset, and you keep God first, then you'll be able to make it to the heights that you want to make.
Beautiful, great stuff. Senior, long way from chopping wood, baby. Long way from
man.
Texas, brother.
Hey, it made a man out of me, though, man. I wouldn't change anything.
Yeah.
Out there chopping those woods, man, in this Texas heat, 105, 110 degrees all day in the summertime. When I got home from school, made a man out of me, man. And I knew no matter, there was nobody on the football field that was going to outwork me, because I already worked all day. Then I go to practice and work another 2 hours. Hey, I'm ahead of the game.
That's right. Hey, Junior, your father has the greatest trait. He makes people feel good. When he comes in the room or when he talks to you, he makes people smile and he makes people feel good, which is a great gift. Not ball carriers or quarterbacks, but everybody else, he makes them feel good. I sense that's like you. I wish you all the success in the world, man. All right? I love that Trotter name. It means a lot in this area. So God bless both of you, and good luck, and enjoy it, man. Take a moment, no matter what happens, where you go, just enjoy your accomplishment that you're going to be drafted into the NFL, Junior.
I appreciate that, and definitely going to try to to smell the roses and really enjoy it.
Trot, love you, buddy.
All right, love you too, cuz.
You're the man.
All right, take it easy.
God bless you. There he is, the Trotters. All right. So, hope you enjoyed the Trotters. Great football family right here, South Jersey. Of course, St. Joe's Prep for young Jeremiah Trotter Jr. Well, it wouldn't be complete to talk about this draft without Baldy. That's right, the great Brian Baldinger. Baldi breaks down the draft like no other. Baldi. All right, let's skip around. I know you got a busy day ahead of you. You're going to be on the NFL Network all weekend long. I mean, this is Baldi time.
Yeah.
Let's go right to the Eagles because, I mean, the board plays out perfectly for Howie. He doesn't have to move, and he's got the top corner, a true CB1 in his lap.
No, it's unbelievable how it fell. In fact, Micah Parsons tweeted it out. How does Howie Roseman do this? The Georgia guys fell last year. Jalen Carter fell into him, I think with the 9th pick. But yeah, I mean, people thought that Indianapolis, Jacksonville, all these teams could take corners. And maybe if the Eagles wanted either Quinyon Mitchell or Terrion Arnold, they're going to have to move to get them. They'd have to move. And really, Quinyon, it was a battle between Quinyon and Terrion, who's the number one corner in the whole draft. But, Quinyon could have easily, he had some issues coming out of high school. That's why he wasn't at a big D1 program. But then he proved himself at Toledo, and he could have gotten the transfer portal. He could have gone to Florida. He could have gone to all these SEC schools.
Nick Saban said that he was waiting. He was his number one prospect. He was waiting for him to enter the portal, and he never did.
No, because Toledo was so loyal to him. So he said, I'm going to give my loyalty to Toledo. And, he had the best times and measurements of any corner in this draft. I mean, he ran a 4.33, but that's one thing. That's Indianapolis. But when you watch the tape, his ability to break on a ball, like he had over 40 passes defense in the last 2 years. His ability to close the gap, zone coverage, man coverage, play the ball in the air. He has all the skills that you're looking for. A tall, long corner, incredibly lightning fast, that can play the ball in the air. Oh, by the way, not only does he play the ball in the air, he didn't have a single penalty. He didn't not one of those defensive passes, he got there too soon.
Right.
His ability to time it, no penalties, led the country in passes defense 2 years in a row. He was an elite prospect.
When you compare and contrast Arnold, how do you, in your mind, how do you come up Mitchell? Because I agree with it too. I love Mitchell.
Well, the only thing is, Terrion, I thought going into last year that McKinstry, Kool-Aid, was the number one corner.
Right.
And because of his size and how he played. But really, Terrion Arnold, you watch him against Texas and taking down Xavier Worthy, where if he doesn't make the tackle, he's dancing in the end zone. His ability to tackle, play every scenario, every situation, whether it's bubble screens with, run defenders in front of you, you got to defeat the block, make the tackle. Whether it's playing the ball down the field, whether it's getting beat down the field and coming right back and making a great play. You see all of the things that you need to be a number one corner in Terrion.
And he's a converted safety, so he's better tackler. That's Mitchell's weakness, which is kind of tackling.
Yeah, I don't know if it's a weakness. I just think that
run support.
Yeah. I mean, but those things can show up sometimes. But Arnold had. That's why he rose this year. His overall play in the SEC, just a higher level of competition week in, week out. Seeing the LSU receivers, seeing Ricky Pearsall at Florida, just seeing the guys you see, all the guys at Florida, So I think just a level of competition week in, week out.
So, of course, the Eagles strike pay dirt. The draft goes exactly the way Howie Roseman wanted. The quarterbacks, there's a run. There's a run on the wide receivers. And so when it goes to the Birds, they don't have to trade up. Sitting there is their choice. The two best cornerbacks in the entire NFL draft. And the Eagles select Quinyon Mitchell, Toledo. Boy, he's going to be special. So we had a chance to find out about Quinyon Mitchell from his coach, Jason Candle. Jason Candle has had a really good program in the MAC, develops players. So we want a little bit of insight into just who is Quinyon Mitchell. His coach, Jason Candle, tells us all about him. But I'm real excited right now to be joined by our next guest. He's one of the terrific coaches in college football. Two-time MAC Coach of the Year. And, of course, he was the coach of Quinyon Mitchell, the Eagles' first-round pick. And he very close with Nick Sirianni. In fact, he played at Mount Union with Nick. So looking forward to talking to Jason Candle, head coach, Toledo Rockets. What do you say, Jason? How are you, buddy?
Good morning. How we doing?
Very good. Very well. Very well. Thanks for joining us. You run an amazing program. I know, listen, you probably do a lot of recruiting in our area. It's a great football area. And you guys, what you have established at Toledo, you get your guys ready for the NFL. You run a terrific program. Just want to tell you that.
Well, I appreciate it. You know, obviously you're only as good as the people around you and the players that you have. And man, oh man, we've been fortunate to have some really good ones. And the city of Philadelphia is getting a really good one here that they just picked in the first round the other night. So I'm excited for that. I'm excited to watch his growth and his development under what I think is a tremendous organization and a great staff.
Yeah, could you tell us about Quinyon a little bit and you know how you saw him develop over his time with you?
Yeah, I mean, I think Q always had, extreme measurables, 6-foot corner, that could really, I mean, he's 4'4" out of high school and strength really improved here. I mean, he's 225, 20 plus times on the bench. And that's kind of a rare combination for, the measurables of what it looks like. But, what I would say is not a highly recruited guy coming out of high school, but and as I've said before, I mean, this guy's a 5-star human being, though. This is a guy that, makes your team better from the character that he brings to the team, his work ethic each and every day and how he goes about and how he approaches his business. A contagious work ethic and a guy like that you can always count on doing the right thing. So I think if you have a foundation like that, you combine that with elite physical skills, the sky's the limit of any level of football that you play. And we certainly benefited from all those things here at Toledo.
Well, Coach, I gotta tell you, the thing that stood out the most and all the talk about Q was from Nick Saban. So when Nick Saban's saying that he's expecting him to enter the portal, and he's like, he was our number one target, and he does not enter the portal. In fact, he wants to stay loyal to you and Toledo. And to me, I mean, that's all I had to know about the kid and just how loyal and you talk about 5-star human. I thought that was kind of spoke volumes.
Yeah, I mean, I think this guy is raised by two incredible women, his mom and his grandma, who are very influential in his life. And, they've kept this guy grounded from day one. And, that's not a common thing in today's world with young people. I mean, it's really hard for them to stay grounded. And in most cases, it's not their fault. But this guy has always been able to keep the main thing. He's always been able to keep, moving in the right direction and not really worrying about lots of kids think globally and think what it could be. And, all of these things that sometimes are real, sometimes aren't. I mean, that guy's always thinking locally. He's always where his feet are. The loyalty you mentioned, I mean, that's a testament to the people in the building. And, I get the credit for that sometimes, but really it has nothing to do with me. It's about the fabric of our team and the friendships and the relationships he's made here. And, when things get hard and, there's critical moments in a football game, trust is the number one thing that I think pushes you over the hump. And he's got great trust in his teammates and they have great trust in him. And he was not ready to fracture that no matter, what it looked like or who came calling. And for that, you take your hat off to the kid because like I said, that's not a common thing in today's world.
Did you wonder? I mean, I'm sure deep down, were you questioning like, am I going to lose him?
Well, I mean, tampering goes on all over college football. I mean, there's guys getting recruited off your roster right now. I mean, that's the world we live in. So, all I can do is have honest conversations with our players and make sure that we understand, what it looks like for these guys going forward. I think that, before this ever NIL stuff and transfer portal stuff ever became part of college football, I mean, I always thought that, players were owed two things: an honest assessment of where they're at, and I think it's our job then to try to paint a clear picture of what it looks like for them. And in Q's case, that was, hey, you're an All-American here. You've already proven that. Your name is on a national stage. You had 4 interceptions in a game last year as a junior. You backed it up with a really good season. Your springtime was in the 4.3s. You're going to put yourself all the way up those draft boards. And from there, how far you want to take it will be up to you. And he really took that and ran with it. And obviously to be the first corner picked in the draft, I mean, that speaks volumes for the work that he put in.
Jason Candle, head coach, Toledo Rockets, 2-time MAC Coach of the Year. Tell me about the first time you met Nick Sirianni.
Obviously teammates at Mount Union. I transferred in there. Nick, his brothers both played there. Nick is the third of 3 brothers that played at Mount. So, that name has been around there for a long time. His older brother, Mike, actually recruited me coming out of high school to go to Mount Union when he was coaching there. So I was familiar, but I think, what you see with Nick is what you get. Very authentic. And, I appreciate that, and I want to know what the rules of engagement are, no matter who it is, what it is, right? So what you see is what you get. A guy that really loves people and loves to be around and really loves the game of football and everything that goes with it. So, it's been fun to watch, and really, it's not a surprise that he's been a great fit for Philly.
And I can only imagine the conversations that you guys had, wide receivers, offense. I can only imagine those talks.
Yeah, I mean, he's awesome. He's one of the better ones, obviously, to ever come through there when it comes to excelling your career after sport. And just a really unique friendship and a lot of conversations that you can have organically. That it's not picking up the phone and trying to sell or recommend somebody. I mean, he's heard about Quinyon Mitchell for years.
Yeah, no, I mean that's very cool. And of course, you know all about the Eagles and Howie and with that organization that's become really one of the class organizations of the NFL.
Well, first class. I mean, from top to bottom, right? I mean, just how they went about the draft process, how they went about everything, and really identifying who they want and who they wanted, and and I think again, for second, third year now in a row where a really strong draft class. Take my guy out of it, right? Like look at all of the pieces that they've been able to to put together, and they've come through our building quite a bit, and every person that has come through here has done a really first class job, from scouts all the way up to to conversations with the head coach and conversations with Howie.
So I got to ask, because I love college football, right? We love it, and it's in such a state of change, right? Dramatic change. What do you see on the horizon? Like I was talking to Matt Rule, who's a dear friend, and we were talking about how it's like heading toward basically 2 conferences. It's wild. Like, what do you see in the future of this thing?
Well, I mean, obviously, we've got to continue to try to do a good job of making sure that the players are kept at the forefront of all decisions made, and what's best for them and their well-being, and then obviously from there try to put some structure around what's going on right now. I think a lot of things are are moving in a crazy direction. What that looks like in the next 4 or 5 years may not look anything like what it'll look like in 10 years from now. But I think whether you're a young person, whether you're an adult here going through this as a coach, everybody wants structure. Everybody wants some type of formality to what it's going to look like. And man, oh man, like to a certain extent, this is like going through the pandemic again. When you talk about you're in a sense of you're looking for consistency, but there is no consistency. So you almost have to get comfortable with being uncomfortable, and that's part of it. So there's a lot of smart people that'll get in rooms and make decisions that are way higher than my pay grade, and we go from there. And you can only just like you tell your team, you can only control the things that you can control, and worrying about the things that you can't. I don't know what that gets you in today's world. So we're going to play by the rules of engagement that are out there, and do the best job we can to keep putting a great product on the field for Toledo.
And you have. Yeah, I mean, you were talking about Ohio football and what you've done at Toledo. It's just wild. The whole NIL portal, it's almost like you're operating in a perpetual state of free agency.
Well, you are. And, it's funny because I think some things are, directed towards being NFL-like, so to speak, right? But everybody knows when there's periods to do things in the NFL versus when there's not. And this is, as you mentioned, this is a year-round thing. So, yeah, you just do the best job you can, and you make sure you continue to make decisions based off of putting the players first and foremost, and the organization, and try to stay as selfless in the process as you possibly can, because it's really easy to get frustrated on a personal level, but that's not going to win you any games, and that's not going to make your program any better.
So I want to ask you, so just selfishly speaking, I have two young boys who play football and youth football, and I'm curious because you're around it, you're recruiting all the time. The state of youth football, it's, we talk about being in a wild situation. I mean, the spring leagues now popping up, which I think is too much, but I think you got to encapsulate it in the fall. But what when you're looking at youth football, advice for those kids, advice for the parents, what are you seeing?
Well, I got a 7-year-old and a 5-year-old myself, so I know, whether it's gymnastics, it's dance, it's football, it's soccer, it's baseball, and it all overlaps, right? There's never a break. I still believe that when we start to get older and we start to get into middle school and high school, we are victims of robbing young people the opportunity to compete. Everybody needs a trainer. Everybody needs to be sports specific, and there's lots of stuff coming out now in Major League Baseball and all these other, professional sports of sport specific injury. And I think there's some validity to some of that. So I'm not, my advice to parents would be, don't rob your children the opportunity to compete because it's about a scholarship in one particular thing. We've been giving out scholarships for 100 years, and kids used to play 3 sports all the time. And when you were the best player at your high school, you played football, you played basketball, you played baseball, and you did what's best because you knew you were only going to be 16, 17, or 18 years old one time. And I think these, just like in college football, sometimes the adults make it about the adults instead of the kids making it, instead of remaining, it being about the kids. And then I think my advice to the kids would be to, like I said, just understand where you're at, be where your feet are. Everybody wants to accelerate the process. Everybody wants to go to college a year early. Everybody wants to go to the NFL a year early. And then sometimes I think we race to regret. And I hate to look back and see kids that have regret that they didn't do a specific thing. And compete, play, have fun, be a 16-year-old kid, be a 15-year-old kid. It only happens once, and there's probably a couple adults on this call right now that we'd like to go back to some of those years if we could do it, and we'd do it again in a second. So, have fun, be where your feet are, and enjoy the moment and enjoy the ride.
Amen, brother. You got that right, man. Sometimes I watch the kids and I go, "Wow, man! I wish they didn't have that equipment when we were growing up." Like you go, "Wow, this is awesome." Yeah, it's actually the greatest part of fatherhood, and you appreciate this, is that you get to do all the fun stuff over again with your children.
Yeah, you go to these youth sporting events, and it's funny because you sit back and there's a couple coaches coaching my son's football team, and they're like, "Coach, can you help us with like, whoa, no, I'm sitting over here and I'm going to be quiet and I'm watching, but I'm going to pretend like I'm not and be on my phone here for a minute. But don't bring me into this.
I'm dad. All right.
Just leave me absolutely.
Yeah. I got to tell you, you're a pleasure, man. You're a terrific coach, and you've built an amazing program. And I wish you the best of luck, buddy.
Well, I appreciate you so much for having me on. Thanks for all you do for college sports, pro sports, and sending the message out there of all the good that we do.
Thanks, buddy. Appreciate it, Jace. Jason
All right,
Campbell.
have a great day.
Thanks, buddy. Appreciate it. Jason Campbell, who is terrific, head coach Toledo. Well, I hope you enjoyed your little foray into the draft. Football season, man, it'll be here before you know it. That's right. Pretty soon, you know how the rhythm of Philadelphia goes. We'll hit through Memorial Day weekend. Nice hot summer, June, graduation, school lets out, and when we go party down the shore with the fighting Phillies. And then soon, training camp will hit. And you know how the rhythm goes. Preseason, we'll be looking at it. We'll be excited. And then the next thing you know, it'll be Labor Day. And the season's here. I don't want to wish away the summer, because it will be the summer of the Phillies. Labor Day will get here soon enough. The Eagles will be headed to Brazil. The Phillies will be ready for the stretch run and the assault on the Mariners' 116-win Major League Baseball record. Phillies will eclipse it. I believe it. And the next thing you know, it'll be Eagles kicking off and a red October. In the interim, enjoy your summer, everybody. Though let's not wish it away. Thanks for hanging on the Anthony Gargano Show right here on Fox Local.
We all silly like the mayor.